My chosen one, this is not a coincidence. You did not click on this message by accident. Archangel Michael has sent a final warning from the throne. A huge tragedy is moving toward your house, and you must act now to stop the enemy. This is not symbolic. This is not casual. This is urgent. Right now, in the unseen realm, something has shifted. A decision hath been made in the courts of heaven. And Archangel Michael, the defender of God's people, the warrior who stands before the throne, has been released with a message that cannot be delayed. It concerns your house, your roof, your bloodline, your peace. Listen carefully. There is an assignment that was whispered in darkness. It was subtle at first. Small disturbances, strange tension, unusual arguments, sudden fatigue, financial pressure that feels heavier than it should. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself it was normal. But in the spirit, it was a strategy. The enemy does not always begin with noise. Sometimes it begins with silence. Sometimes it begins with distraction. Sometimes it begins with a door left slightly open. Archangel Michael stands with his sword drawn, not because he is afraid, but because something was permitted to approach your territory. And he has been sent with a final warning before impact. There is a wave moving toward your household. It is designed to shake stability. It is designed to create confusion. It is designed to turn family members against each other. If not stopped, it will attempt to plant division that lasts for years. But here is the shocking truth. It has not fully arrived yet. You are hearing this before the collision. That means heaven still allows intervention. You must understand something powerful. When Michael moves, it is never random. He is not sent for minor inconveniences. He is sent when destinies are at stake. He is sent when a household carries purpose that threatens darkness. And your house carries purpose. There is something inside your walls that the enemy fears. A calling, a future testimony, a breakthrough that would influence others. That is why the attack is not outside, it is aimed inside. Pay attention to the signs. Has there been sudden miscommunication? Has there been unusual anger where love once flowed? Have you felt watched, pressured, or spiritually heavy at night? Has peace felt fragile? These are not small details. These are tremors before a quake. But do not panic. Panic is what the enemy wants. Fear weakens authority. And you were not given a spirit of fear. Archangel Michael's warning is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to activate you. There is something you must do immediately. First, you must close every spiritual door. Think carefully. What have you allowed into your home? Not just physically, spiritually. Words spoken in anger. Entertainment that feeds darkness. Objects tied to painful memories. Conversations that planted seeds of doubt. Clean your atmosphere. The throne has spoken because time is short. The movement toward your house is accelerating. But heaven does not warn without also providing strategy. You must reclaim authority. Stand in the center of your home and declare that it belongs to God. Speak it aloud. Your voice carries legal weight in the spirit realm. Silence gives permission. Declaration removes it. Archangel Michael responds to authority aligned with heaven. When you speak with faith, you are not alone. His sword moves with your declaration. Understand this clearly. The tragedy approaching is not random misfortune. It is targeted disruption. He wants to break unity. He wanted to cause lot. It wants to create regret. But it can still be stopped. There is a window open right now. a narrow one. You may have noticed increased spiritual sensitivity lately. Vivid dreams, repeated numbers, sudden urges to pray. That is not imagination. That is preparation. You were being positioned for this warning. And here is something even deeper. The enemy thought you would remain unaware. The plan depended on ignorance. It depended on delay. It depended on you scrolling past this message. But you are still here. That alone has disrupted the strategy. Archangel Michael does not exaggerate. When he says final warning, it means the next phase would have been impact. This is mercy intercepting destruction. Do not wait for visible evidence. By the time something is visible, it has already matured spiritually. Act before manifestation. Tonight, before you sleep, walk through your house. Pray over each room. Speak peace into the walls. Command confusion to leave. Invite divine protection to stand at every entrance. And remove anything that feels spiritually heavy. Trust your discernment. This is not superstition. This is spiritual warfare. You were chosen to hear this because you have authority. You are not weak. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of unseen forces. You are protected, but protection responds to participation. Archangel Michael stands ready. The sword is raised. The tragedy is approaching, but it has not yet touched your door. What happens next depends on your obedience in this moment. Do not delay. The throne has spoken. Beloved guardian of your household, something is shifting even as you listen. The atmosphere around your home is not the same as it was a few days ago. There has been movement in the unseen realm because the warning was delivered. When a warning from the throne is received, darkness does not retreat quietly. It reacts. You may already feel it. There may be unusual restlessness in your spirit. Small irritations rising without clear reason. Conversations that always turn into arguments but stop halfway. This is not random tension. This is resistance. The enemy realizes that exposure has taken place, and exposure weakens his strategy. Archangel Michael does not simply deliver warnings. He positions defenses. Right now, he stands at the edge of your property line in the spirit realm, not as a symbol, but as an active defender. Yet there is a law in the spiritual world that must be understood clearly. Heaven partners with human agreement. If you remain passive, you create gaps. If you become intentional, you create barriers. The tragedy that was moving toward your house was designed to enter through familiarity. It was not going to knock loudly. It was going to slip in through habits, through repeated patterns, through emotional wounds that were never healed. It planned to use what is already inside to destroy what is coming in the future. But something interrupted. This message did. Now the enemy is attempting to accelerate. When delay fails, pressure increases. You might notice sudden urgency around decisions. Someone may push you to react quickly. Financial moves may feel rushed. Emotional reactions may feel amplified. Slow down. When heaven sends warning, it is not to create panic but precision. Archangel Michael fights with precision. His sword does not swing wildly. It moves with exact timing. And you must do the same. There is a conversation that needs to happen inside your house. A calm one. A direct one. Not fueled by accusation but guided by clarity. Unity is your shield. Division is the enemy's entry point. You may have felt recently that someone in your home is distant, distracted, slightly withdrawn. Do not confront with anger. Approach with understanding. The tragedy approaching feeds on isolation. Big isolation with intent of an engine. And hear this clearly. Prayer in this season must become vocal. Silent thoughts are powerful, but spoken words establish territory. When you declare peace, you shift spiritual alignment. When you declare protection, you activate angelic assignment. Archangel Michael responds to aligned declaration. This is why you must not treat this message lightly. What is coming next in this revelation will expose how close the impact truly was. The timing will shock you. But before that is revealed, you must prepare your spirit and your home. If this message is stirring something inside you, do not keep it to yourself. There are others connected to you who need to hear this warning. Share this video with them. Let them stand under the same protection. Like this message so it reaches more households that are unknowingly standing in the same path. Comment below if you are choosing to take authority over your home, because agreement multiplies strength. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, this is your moment. This is not just content. This is a spiritual alert system for those who are called to stay awake. Join this growing community, and if your spirit leads you, become a member so you can stand even closer to the front lines of what heaven is revealing. The enemy thrives in silence and isolation, but we break isolation by standing together. Now listen carefully. There was a specific day marked, a specific window of opportunity. The plan was not vague. They had timing attached to it. That timing is closer than you think. You may have sensed a date coming up that feels heavy without explanation. Trust that instinct. Heaven reveals to redeem. Archangel Michael has intercepted what was meant to be sudden. And because it was intercepted early, the outcome can change completely. But intervention requires continuation. You cannot return to spiritual sleep after receiving spiritual alert. Something in the next revelation will connect directly to a recent event in your life. When you hear it, you will recognize it instantly. It will confirm that this is not imagination. Hold your focus. What is about to be uncovered will explain why your household has felt under unusual pressure. Keep listening closely, because the next layer reveals the hidden door the enemy attempted to use. You will want to hear this. Faithful soul, what you are about to understand will connect everything. The hidden door the enemy attempted to use was not a physical door. It was emotional access. It was a wound that was never fully healed. It was a disappointment you buried instead of confronting. And that buried place became an opening. Archangel Michael was sent because that opening was being targeted deliberately. There was a memory that still carried pain, a betrayal, a hard word, a failure you replayed in your mind. The enemy marked that memory as an entry point, not to remind you but to weaken you. Because when your confidence weakens, your authority lowers. And when authority lowers, protection thins. The tragedy moving toward your house was going to begin with emotional eruption. An argument that escalates beyond proportion. Words spoken that cannot be taken back. A decision made in anger. A decision would have triggered a chain reaction affecting finances, relationships, and stability. It was designed as a domino effect, but heaven revealed it before ignition. Archangel Michael does not only fight external battles, he guards internal territories. Your heart is territory. Your thoughts are territory. Your home is territory. And when he was dispatched from the throne, it was because your territory is marked with divine purpose. There is something significant tied to your household in the coming season. A breakthrough that would influence not only you, but others connected to you. The enemy calculated that if he could destabilize your house now, that future impact would be delayed for years. This is why the warning was urgent. Think back over the last 2 weeks. There was a moment when tension rose suddenly. It may have seemed small, but it felt disproportionate. That was a test ignition. A small spark to see if the atmosphere was ready to burn. You may have noticed how quickly emotions intensified, how easily misunderstanding formed. That was not coincidence. It was a probe. Archangel Michael stepped in at that moment. What could have exploded remained contained. You thought it was self-control. You thought it was luck. It was intervention. But intervention does not remove responsibility. You must now seal what was exposed. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is spiritual closure. When you forgive, you close legal access. When you release resentment, you revoke permission. The enemy cannot build on what hath been surrendered to God. There is someone you need to forgive inside your household, or perhaps someone outside it whose memory still lives inside. Do not delay this. Speak it aloud. Release it intentionally, even if they never apologize. Your freedom is not dependent on their acknowledgement. Archangel Michael stands ready, but he will not override your will. The tragedy that was approaching is now slowed. Not gone, but slowed. It is waiting for re-entry. Do not provide it. Tonight, gather your household if possible. Even if it is brief. Even if it feels awkward. Pray together. Speak unity. Declare that no division will enter your walls. Unity is a spiritual firewall. And understand this deeply. The enemy's strategy failed because you responded to a warning. Many do not. Many ignore subtle spiritual signals. But you listened. That is why you are still under protection. There is also a physical action required. Remove anything in your home that represents past pain. Old letters. Gifts tied to broken trust. Objects connected to heavy memories. Clear the atmosphere physically as you clear it spiritually. As you do this, say out loud that your house belongs to the Lord, that no tragedy is permitted, that no assignment against your family will prosper. Archangel Michael's sword is not decorative. It enforces declaration. Something powerful is happening right now. The momentum of disaster is being reversed. What was meant to hit your house is being redirected away from it. But this moment must be sealed with agreement. Type "My house is covered" in the comments if you are standing in faith. Blessing code 444 is now released over your household. And hear this as a continuation of what has just been activated. When you sow into a word that protects your house, you become part of protecting other houses too. Scripture declares, when you give, it will be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is not just a verse. It is God speaking directly to you now. As you secure your home spiritually, you are invited to help secure others who are still unaware of the danger approaching them. When you release a super thanks, join membership, or sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are fueling a rescue mission. You are placing oil in the lamp so the light does not go out. I am responding in obedience to heaven's call. Now you respond in obedience to yours. Let your giving become a prophetic act that says, no tragedy will overtake my house, and no darkness will silence this message. As you sow, may protection multiply over your family. May the sword of Michael stand at your gates continually. Step into this moment boldly. Activate your support now and become a guardian of other homes. Chosen vessel, there is something deeper you must understand now. The slowing of the tragedy was not the end of the battle. It was the beginning of exposure. When a strategy fails, the enemy does not disappear. He recalculates. And this recalculation is subtle. After you declared your house covered, after you released forgiveness, after you felt that slight shift of peace return, there may have been a strange calm. All is too calm. That calm is not defeat. It is observation. The enemy studies reactions. He looks for cracks left behind. But here is what he did not anticipate: growth. Archangel Michael was not only sent to block impact, he was sent to elevate awareness. And awareness changes everything. When you become spiritually alert, your reactions change. Your words carry weight. Your discernment sharpens. You may have noticed that you are more sensitive now to tone, to atmosphere, to sudden mood shifts in your home. That is not anxiety. That is discernment increasing. Heaven sharpens those who respond to warning. There is a reason your house was targeted specifically. It is not just about your present. It is about what is forming in your future. There is a decision coming soon, a door of opportunity that will elevate your household into a new level of influence or stability. The enemy detected it before you did. That opportunity carries visibility, and visibility attracts opposition. The tragedy that was approaching was designed to disqualify you emotionally before you could step into that door. If your house was unstable, you would hesitate. If your mind was heavy, you would delay. If division had taken root, you would lack confidence. So the plan was not random destruction. It was strategic timing. Archangel Michael intercepted it because heaven is invested in what is coming through your household. But now comes the next instruction. Guard your words carefully over the next several days. The atmosphere is sensitive. What you speak will either reinforce protection or create vulnerability. Casual negative statements have more weight than you realize. When you say, "Nothing ever works out," or "This house is always under pressure," you unintentionally give language to the enemy's assignment. Rehearse it. Speak life even when emotion resists it. Declare stability even when finances fluctuate. Declare peace even when tension tries to rise. Your words frame your environment. You may also experience external distraction, unexpected demands on your time, sudden invitations that pull you away from your focus. The enemy often shifts from internal attack to external distraction when internal division fails. Stay focused. This is not a season to scatter your energy. Protect your schedule. Protect your rest. Fatigue lowers spiritual alertness, and exhaustion makes small problems feel overwhelming. Archangel Michael stands guard, but you must remain aligned. Think of it as a shield formation. He holds the front line. You secure the interior. There is also someone watching your household quietly, not in a sinister way, but in observation. Someone who notices your stability, your resilience, your ability to recover quickly from tension. That person will soon need guidance. The enemy hoped your house would collapse before you could become an example to them. But that will not happen. Instead, your testimony will strengthen others. However, do not assume the battle is fully over. There will be one more attempt, smaller than the first, but sharper. That will likely come through miscommunication again. A message misunderstood. A tone misread. A situation where pride could easily rise. When it comes, pause. Silence is sometimes stronger than response. A delayed reaction can prevent long-term damage. You do not need to win arguments. You need to protect unity. And remember this: protection is not just defensive. It is proactive. Create moments of intentional peace. Play worship music softly in your home. Speak gratitude at the dinner table. Laugh intentionally. Joy confuses darkness. Archangel Michael fights with strength, but heaven also fortifies with joy. Something significant is approaching your house, but it is not tragedy anymore. It is opportunity. The tragedy was an attempt to block it. Now that the block has been exposed, the path is clearing. Do not relax into complacency. Stay spiritually awake. The next revelation will uncover how this opportunity connects to a past prayer you thought was unanswered. There is more unfolding than you can currently see. And what is being rearranged in the unseen realm will soon become visible. Remain steady. Remain aligned. The throne is still attentive to your house. Steadfast one, what is unfolding now is the answer to a prayer you almost forgot you prayed. Months ago, maybe even years ago, you asked God for stability, increase, restoration, or elevation for your household. You whispered it during a difficult night. You spoke it quietly after a disappointment. You may have even cried it out when no one else was watching. And when nothing seemed to change immediately, you assumed heaven was silent. Heaven was not silent. Heaven was preparing. The opportunity approaching your house is directly connected to that prayer. But here is the mystery. When prayers of elevation are answered, they often trigger resistance before manifestation. The enemy does not attack what is ordinary. He attacks what is advancing. The tragedy that was moving toward your house was a preemptive strike. It was meant to exhaust you emotionally so that when opportunity knocked, you would not have the strength to open the door. It was meant to distract you with internal chaos so you would overlook external blessing. But that strategy was exposed. Archangel Michael's intervention was not only about protection. It was about preservation of timing. Timing is sacred. When heaven schedules increase, it aligns people, resources, conversations, and circumstances with precision. A single emotional explosion inside your home could have shifted that timing. That is why the warning was urgent. And now you are in a delicate but powerful window. This is the calm before visible breakthrough. In this window, character is tested quietly. Consistency matters more than emotion. Discipline matters more than excitement. You may notice subtle confirmations appearing. A phone call that feels promising. An idea that keeps returning to your mind. A connection that suddenly becomes active again. Do not dismiss these as coincidence. They are alignment signals. However, the enemy will attempt one more tactic, doubt. He will whisper that you are overreacting, that nothing was ever coming, that this entire warning was unnecessary. Doubt is designed to make you lower your guard too early. Do not internalize that voice. If there was no real threat, there would have been no resistance. If there was no real breakthrough ahead, there would have been no strategic interference. Archangel Michael does not mobilize without cause. Something you must understand clearly now is this. Protection does not mean absence of pressure. It means preservation through pressure. You may still feel moments of tension, but they will not escalate into destruction because you are now alert. There is also a shift happening inside you personally. You are becoming more spiritually decisive. You are less tolerant of chaos. You are quicker to pray instead of react. A transformation is not accidental. It is preparation for leadership inside your own household. Leadership is not dominance. It is stability. Your house needs a stabilizer in this season. Someone who does not amplify emotion but absorbs it and redirects it toward peace. That role has quietly been placed on you, not as a burden, but as an honor. Archangel Michael fights external battles, but internal peace must be stewarded by you. In the coming days, there will be a conversation that feels pivotal. It may involve finances, future plans, relocation, or a significant decision. Approach it calmly. Speak thoughtfully. Listen more than you argue. That conversation will open the door connected to your old prayer. And here is something even more profound. The tragedy that was assigned against your house has now been reassigned away from it. What was meant for harm is being redirected. You may later hear of a situation that almost happened but did not involve you. When you do, understand that interception took place. Gratitude will seal protection. Do not become casual after victory. Continue praying over your home weekly. Continue declaring unity. Continue removing subtle negativity from your atmosphere. This is not paranoia. This is stewardship. The enemy prefers houses that sleep spiritually. Your house is awake now. And because it is awake, it is advancing. There is a sense of momentum building. You may feel it as anticipation, a quiet expectation. Hold on to that. Do not let temporary inconvenience steal long-term promise. What is approaching your house now is not tragedy, but testimony. But before testimony becomes visible, there is one more layer of revelation you must receive. It concerns someone connected to your household who does not yet realize they were also part of the original target. Listen carefully in what comes next. This connection will explain why the pressure felt larger than just you. Stay attentive. The unfolding is not finished. Watchful guardian, the pressure that surrounded your house was never meant for you alone. It was connected to someone tied to your household, someone whose destiny is intertwined with yours. The enemy calculated that if he could not break you directly, he could destabilize someone close to you and shake the foundation indirectly. This person may be a spouse, a child, a sibling, or even someone who frequently enters your home. Recently, they have shown subtle signs of internal struggle, mood changes, unusual silence, a sense of being overwhelmed without clear explanation. You sensed it, but you could not fully name it. That was not imagination. The tragedy that was moving toward your house was going to manifest through them. It would have appeared as a sudden mistake, a poor decision, or an emotional outburst that carried consequences beyond the moment. The enemy targeted their vulnerability, believing it would trigger chaos across the entire household. But the throne intervened early. Archangel Michael's warning was not only about protecting walls and finances. It was about shielding a person whose future carries weight. This individual has a calling they do not yet fully understand. There is leadership inside them, creativity, influence, impact. And because of that, they were marked. Sometimes the enemy studies the quietest one in the room. The one who does not speak much, the one who carries hidden pressure. He attempts to amplify their insecurity until it becomes self-sabotage. You may have noticed this person questioning themselves more than usual, doubting their abilities, feeling unseen. That internal instability was the doorway the enemy hoped to use. But now you know. Do not confront them with suspicion. Approach them with compassion. Strengthen them without revealing fear. Speak affirmation into their life intentionally. Tell them what you see in them. Remind them of their value. Your words can close the gap the enemy tried to widen. Archangel Michael stands as a defender, but encouragement inside the home is a weapon too. There may also be an external influence attempting to pull this person away from wise counsel. A friend who encourages risky decisions. A voice that normalizes compromise. Pay attention to new influences that seem slightly off. You do not need to control them, but you must remain spiritually aware. This is a season for guidance without domination. The enemy's original strategy depended on isolation followed by impulsive action. Now that isolation is being broken through connection, that impulsive action loses power. However, expect resistance. There may be a moment soon when this person reacts defensively or misinterprets your concern. Do not withdraw. Do not escalate. Remain steady. Stability confuses chaos. Archangel Michael's presence over your house has created a protective perimeter, but emotional alignment within that perimeter must be maintained daily. Also understand this: when a household escapes a targeted tragedy, there is often a counter-attempt through distraction. You might notice busyness increasing, schedules becoming crowded, fatigue creeping in. The enemy prefers exhaustion because exhausted people react instead of discern. Guard your rest. Create intentional quiet moments in your home, even brief ones. A shared meal without devices. A joy prayer together. A conversation that is not rushed. These small acts reinforce spiritual walls. If this message is confirming something you have already sensed, engage with it actively. Like this video so this warning reaches other families who are unaware of the pressure around them. Share it with someone connected to your household who needs encouragement. Comment below if you are choosing to stand as a stabilizer in your home. And if you have not subscribed yet, this is the moment to align yourself consistently with these spiritual alerts. Join this community. Become part of a network that refuses to let darkness move quietly. If your spirit is stirred, consider joining the membership as well. There is strength in standing together intentionally. What comes next will reveal how this protected individual is connected to the opportunity forming around your house. The breakthrough is not singular. It is collective. Something is aligning not only for you, but for them. In the days ahead, watch for a small sign of restoration in this person. A renewed spark. A sudden clarity. A moment of confidence that seems to come out of nowhere. That will be evidence that the interception worked. Archangel Michael does not simply block tragedy. He restores direction. Stay attentive. The next revelation will uncover how your household is stepping into a new spiritual authority because of this battle. Do not underestimate what surviving an unseen attack has unlocked inside you. Courageous heart. Surviving what was meant to shake your house has unlocked something you did not realize was dormant within you. Spiritual authority does not grow in comfort. It grows in confrontation. And because you responded instead of retreating, your household has shifted into a higher level of covering. You may not feel dramatically different, but something subtle has changed. There is a firmness in your spirit now, a quicker instinct to pray, a deeper sensitivity when something feels off. That is not coincidence. This growth earned through resistance. When the enemy fails to execute a planned tragedy, he studies the aftermath carefully. He looks to see whether the household relaxes too quickly or becomes wiser. Your response determines what happens next. Right now, your home is being observed in the spirit realm not as a target, but as a threat. Darkness does not fear noise. It fears awareness. And your awareness has increased. Archangel Michael remains stationed, but his posture has shifted. He is no longer standing in emergency defense. He is standing in strategic alignment. That means something is about to advance. The person connected to your household who was once vulnerable is beginning to stabilize. You may notice them thinking more clearly, acting more intentionally, showing glimpses of maturity that were not visible before. That is restoration taking root. However, restoration often exposes hidden truth. There may soon be a revelation inside your home. Not destructive but clarifying. Something that has been unspoken will surface. Even Fahin. And a million. A truth that was delayed. When it comes, Do not react with shock. Receive it with calm. This truth is not meant to damage your house. It is meant to cleanse it. Sometimes tragedy approaches because secrets create pressure. Once exposed, pressure dissolves. The enemy hoped secrets will remain buried until they exploded. But heaven is allowing exposure before explosion. That is mercy again. You may feel nervous sensing that something will surface. Do not be afraid. What is coming to light will not destroy you. It will strengthen you. Your reaction in that moment will determine whether shame grows or healing begins. Choose healing. Archangel Michael does not defend pride. He defends purpose. If pride rises in that moment, lower it. If ego feels threatened, surrender it. Unity is more valuable than being right. There is also a financial alignment happening quietly behind the scenes. A delay that frustrated you recently was not rejection. It was timing adjustment. Had it moved earlier, it would have collided with instability. Now that stability is forming, movement can resume. Watch for news connected to money, opportunity, or provision. It may not be dramatic at first. It could appear as a small opening, but small openings can become large doors when peace surrounds them. You must also guard your speech in the coming days, especially in moments of frustration. The atmosphere is sensitive because transition is near. Words spoken carelessly can sow momentum. Instead, speak expectation. Even if you do not see full evidence yet, speak as though breakthrough is normal. Archangel Michael fights with strength, but alignment with heaven requires consistency from you. You might also experience vivid dreams or sudden flashes of insight. Pay attention to them. Write them down. Heaven often confirms advancement through subtle revelation. The tragedy that once moved toward your house has lost its power because you did not ignore the warning. Now what moves toward your house is opportunity and clarity. But before that clarity fully manifests, there will be a defining moment of choice. A choice between reacting emotionally or responding spiritually. When that moment arrives, remember everything you have heard. Pause. Breathe. Pray briefly before speaking. That pause will redirect destiny. Your house is no longer vulnerable in the way it was. It is fortified through awareness. And fortified houses do not fall easily. Something significant is about to confirm that this battle was not random. It was preparation. The next unfolding will show you how your household is being positioned not just for protection, but for influence. Remain steady. The transition is almost visible. Anointed listener, what you are stepping into now is not simply relief from danger. It is elevation after resistance. The defining moment of choice that was mentioned is closer than you think, and it will reveal how much your household has truly grown. Very soon, there will be a situation that feels like a test of everything you have learned in this season. It may begin as a disagreement, or as unexpected news, or as pressure connected to finances or extended family. At first glance, it will look ordinary, but in the spirit, it will be a checkpoint. The enemy will watch closely, hoping for an old reaction, hoping for raised voices, hoping for blame, hoping for emotional explosion. Because if the old pattern returns, he can argue that nothing has changed. But heaven expects a different outcome. Archangel Michael is not only guarding your home, he is witnessing your transformation. The sword that once stood in emergency defense now stands as a sign of authority delegated. You have grown. You are not the same person who first heard the warning. When this test moment arrives, you will feel the pull of two responses. One will be familiar and fast. The other will be calm and intentional. Choose the calm response. even if it feels slower, even if it requires swallowing pride. The choice will close the final legal door the enemy was hoping to reopen. There is also a revelation connected to someone outside your immediate household, a relative or close associate who carried hidden tension toward you. That tension contributed spiritually to the pressure around your home, not because they wished you harm directly, but because unresolved conflict creates spiritual static. Soon, there will be an opportunity to clear that static. It may come through a simple conversation, an unexpected apology, or even a nuchal gathering that softens hearts. Do not resist it. Lean into reconciliation. Reconciliation is not weakness. It is warfare handled wisely. Archangel Michael fights battles you cannot see, but reconciliation dissolves battles before they need to be fought. You may also notice your sleep improving, or your mind feeling lighter. That is evidence that the heavy cloud which hovered near your house is thinning. Peace is returning, not as a temporary feeling, but as a foundation. But listen carefully now. With elevation comes visibility. Others will begin to notice the stability of your household. Some will be inspired. Others may feel uncomfortable. Not everyone celebrates growth. Do not let subtle envy disturb your peace. Protect your joy quietly. The opportunity tied to your old prayer is now aligning with this new stability. It will require unity to step into it fully. That is why every recent lesson has centered around peace, communication, forgiveness, and authority. You are being prepared to carry more without collapsing under it. When the defining moment passes successfully, you will feel a shift almost immediately. A sense of relief. A confirmation in your spirit that something heavy has finally lifted. That will be the sign that the original tragedy has been fully disarmed. Type "We choose peace" in the comments if you are ready to respond differently than before. Lesson code 818 is now activated over your household. And as this code of peace is released, understand that you are not the only house facing silent battles. Many are standing at the edge of unseen tragedy without warning. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are becoming a vessel that carries oil to other lamps before they go dark. The Lord declares, "Those who water others will themselves be watered." This is not a distant promise. It is a living exchange. As your house steps into stability, you are invited to help stabilize others. I am answering the call to speak what heaven reveals. Now answer your call to fuel the message. Let your giving become a prophetic declaration that says darkness will not outrun light. As you release your seed, may provision surround your home. May unity deepen. May protection multiply. Act now. Seal your obedience with action. The final unfolding will reveal how influence is about to increase around your household. What was once a threatened house is becoming a fortified example. Stay attentive. The story is not ending. It is expanding. Steady soul. What is unfolding now is the expansion you were being prepared for. The house that once stood under silent pressure is now being positioned as a place of influence. This influence will not begin with crowns or public recognition. It will begin quietly, through conversations, through counsel, through the way others start seeking your perspective. You may already notice it. Someone asking for your advice unexpectedly. Someone confiding in you about struggles inside their own home. Someone observing how you handled a tense situation and saying, "I don't know how you stayed so calm." These are not random compliments. They are indicators of shift. The enemy attempted to strike your house because influence was forming. Influence does not always look like a stage. Sometimes it looks like stability. And stability attracts those who are unstable. Archangel Michael's protection was not only about shielding you from tragedy, it was about preserving a testimony that will now begin to speak for itself. When people see a house that could have fallen but did not, they become curious about the covering over it. But hear this carefully. Influence must be handled with humility. As others begin to lean on you, resist the urge to become self-reliant. Do not replace dependence on God with confidence in your own wisdom. What protected your house was alignment, not personal strength alone. Continue praying quietly. Continue declaring peace. Continue guarding your atmosphere. There is also a subtle temptation that may arise now, the temptation to revisit old habits because the danger feels distant. Do not do it. Do not reintroduce what you removed. Do not reopen conversations that were closed in healing. Do not allow sarcasm, passive aggression, or careless speech to creep back in. The enemy cannot attack the way he planned before, but he can wait for complacency. Your house is in a strengthening phase. Like muscles after resistance, growth must be maintained through consistency. There is also a financial or practical decision approaching that will test your unity again, but in a different way. It will not feel like conflict. It will feel like opportunity mixed with risk. You and someone in your household may see it differently at first. A difference is not a threat unless pride enters. Discuss it calmly. Pray before deciding. Seek confirmation instead of rioting. The tragedy that was stopped earlier was partly tied to impulsive action. This time, wisdom will secure what haste once endangered. Archangel Michael's presence over your home now feels less intense because the emergency has passed. But do not mistake calm for absence. Angelic protection often becomes quieter when stability is restored. You may also sense a stronger desire to cleanse your environment more deeply. Rearranging rooms, removing clutter, simplifying. That instinct is connected to the spiritual reset that has taken place. When atmosphere changes spiritually, it often reflects physically. Allow that renewal. There is something powerful about a house that has survived unseen attack. It carries resilience. It carries gratitude. It carries a different kind of peace. Not naive peace, but tested peace. Soon, there will be a confirmation that what was meant for harm has fully reversed. It may come as unexpected good news. It may come as a situation that resolves itself without conflict. It may come as protection from something you only later realize could have gone wrong. When it happens, do not dismiss it as coincidence. Acknowledge it. Give thanks intentionally. Gratitude strengthens protection. And here is something even deeper. The person who was once most vulnerable in your household will soon show a sign of leadership. A decision made wisely. A mature response in a tense moment. When you see it, encourage it immediately. Speak affirmation over it. That is the fruit of interception. The enemy tried to use them as a doorway. Now they are becoming a pillar. This transformation inside your house is not temporary. It is foundational. You are stepping into a season where your home feels lighter, conversations feel clearer, and unity feels intentional rather than fragile. But there is one final revelation still ahead. It will explain why the warning was labeled final and how close the original impact truly was. When you understand that timing, gratitude will deepen even more. Stay attentive. The conclusion will reveal the full picture of what your house has escaped and what it is now walking toward. Beloved protector, now you are ready to understand why this was called a final warning from the throne. The word final was not exaggeration. It was precise. The tragedy that was moving toward your house had reached its last stage of preparation. One more trigger, one more emotional ignition, One more careless decision, and it would have crossed from possibility into manifestation. The timing was closer than you ever realized. There was a specific alignment forming behind the scenes. A conversation that almost happened on the wrong day. A financial step that nearly moved forward without clarity. An emotional response that almost escalated beyond repair. These events seemed small individually, but together they would have created a chain reaction. The enemy relies on chains. He does not need massive events when he can link small ones together. A heated argument leading to distance. Distance leading to poor counsel. Poor counsel leading to risky decision. Risky decision leading to loss. But with the architecture. But the chain was interrupted. When the warning reached you, it inserted pause into the sequence. And pause is powerful. Pause breaks momentum. Pause forces reevaluation. Pause invites heaven into the moment. Archangel Michael was dispatched because the sequence had almost completed. That is why the urgency felt sharp. That is why your spirit reacted when you first heard the message. Something inside you recognized how close the edge truly was. There may even have been a night recently where you felt unusual heaviness or restlessness without explanation. That with the final push attempting to occur. But instead of explosion, there was exposure. Now look at your house. It is still standing. Relationship still intact. Peace returning. That is not ordinary. That is interception. But here is the wisdom you must carry forward. Just because the chain was broken does not mean new chains will never be attempted. Awareness must remain part of your household culture. Continue speaking life. Continue choosing calm over impulse. Continue protecting unity as if it were fragile treasure. Because in truth, unity is treasure. You may soon receive confirmation of how close the situation truly was. Perhaps someone will admit they were about to make a decision, but changed their mind. Perhaps a delayed payment or postponed meeting will later prove to be divine timing. When that confirmation arrives, do not be shocked. Let it deepen your gratitude. There is also acceleration beginning now. What was delayed due to instability will begin to move forward again. Doors that seemed closed will show signs of reopening. The opportunity connected to your old prayer is not canceled. It was protected. However, acceleration requires alignment. Do not allow small distractions to steal focus. This is a season to be intentional with conversations, finances, and commitments. And if this revelation has opened your eyes to how strategic the enemy can be, then help others open theirs as well. Like this message so it reaches home standing at similar crossroads. Share it with someone who needs to understand how close they might be to a chain reaction. Comment below if you recognize how pause changed your outcome. And if you have not yet subscribed, now is the time to stay connected consistently. Join this channel so you remain alert in future seasons. If you feel called, become a member and stand with this mission intentionally. We are building a community that refuses to let tragedy move silently. The final unfolding will not be about fear. It will be about gratitude and commissioning. You were warned. You responded, and your house shifted. Now there is a responsibility attached to survival. You are no longer just someone who escaped tragedy. You are someone who understands how it operates. The throne did not send a final warning merely to save you. It sent it to awaken you. And awakening changes destiny. Prepare your heart for what comes next. It will seal this season and release a new one over your house. Awakened one, survival has turned into commissioning. What you escaped was not only destruction, it was spiritual sleep. The final warning from the throne did more than protect your house. It awakened you to patterns, to timing, to the invisible architecture behind everyday moments. Now you see differently. You no longer dismiss tension as random. You no longer treat arguments as harmless. You no longer rush decisions without prayer. This awareness is the true inheritance of the battle you just endured. Archangel Michael was sent as a defender, but his presence also marked your house as accountable. When heaven intervenes this directly, it expects maturity to follow. The season ahead will not be defined by crisis. It will be defined by stewardship. Stewardship of peace. Stewardship of unity. Stewardship of influence. There will be people who step into your life in the coming months who are standing exactly where you once stood, unaware that small emotional sparks could ignite major consequences. They will not need dramatic sermons from you. They will need calm wisdom. They will need testimony without pride. When you share what you learned, speak from humility. Do not exaggerate. Do not dramatize. Simply explain how pause changed everything. Explain how unity preserved opportunity. Explain how forgiveness closed doors that anger would have opened. Your house has become a quiet lighthouse. But remember this: lighthouses must remain maintained. Dust accumulates slowly. Bitterness creeps quietly. Fatigue builds subtly. Continue guarding against these small intrusions. There may also be a new level of spiritual sensitivity in you now. You might sense when something feels off before it becomes visible. You might feel prompted to pray at unusual moments. Do not ignore these instincts. They are part of your growth. Archangel Michael's assignment around your house may not feel dramatic anymore, but his protection has not been withdrawn. It has shifted from emergency defense to covenant covering. Covenant covering remains as long as alignment remains. You may soon look back and realize that if the original chain reaction had completed, the damage would have extended beyond your home. It could have affected reputation, finances, or relationships outside your walls. The ripple would have been wider than you imagined. That realization will deepen your gratitude. Gratitude is more than emotion. It is alignment sustained over time. When you thank God intentionally for protection, you reinforce awareness. There is also a final layer of clarity coming. It may arrive as a quiet moment when you suddenly see how several recent events almost connected destructively. You will trace the pattern backward and realize how precise the timing was. When that understanding settles, you will recognize why the message was labeled final. It was the last exit before collision, and you took it. Now the path ahead is not about bracing for impact. It is about building intentionally. Invest time in your household. Strengthen communication. Clarify goals. Pray over long-term plans. The opportunity once threatened is still approaching, but now it is approaching a stronger house. Do not rush the new season. Let it unfold steadily. Stability is more valuable than speed. There will also be moments where the enemy attempts subtle reminders of the past pressure, almost as if to test whether fear still has access. When those moments come, respond with confidence instead of anxiety. You have evidence now. Evidence that warning plus obedience equals protection. You are not fragile anymore. You are fortified. The next and final revelation will not bring new fear. It will release blessing and seal this chapter with authority. What was once moving toward your house in darkness will now be replaced with something moving toward it in light. Prepare your spirit to receive it fully. The throne does not warn without also restoring. What is about to be spoken will mark the closing of one season and the beginning of another. Remain attentive. The commissioning is about to be sealed. Faithful guardian of your house, this is the sealing of what heaven began. The final warning from the throne was never meant to leave you in fear. It was meant to reposition you in authority. Now you can see the full picture. The tragedy that was moving toward your house was real. The timing was precise. The chain reaction was nearly complete. But mercy stepped in before manifestation. Archangel Michael was dispatched not only because danger was close, but because destiny was closer. You were standing at a crossroads you did not even see. One path led to emotional explosion, fractured unity, delayed opportunity, and long seasons of repair. The other path led to awareness, alignment, protection, and accelerated maturity. The warning became the dividing line between those two futures, and you chose awareness. That choice altered the spiritual atmosphere of your home. It broke the chain. It slowed the momentum of darkness. It exposed hidden weaknesses before they could be exploited. It turned a targeted house into a fortified one. Now what moves toward your house is no longer tragedy. It is responsibility. Responsibility to maintain unity. Responsibility to guard your words. Responsibility to remain prayerful even when peace feels stable. Responsibility to guide others who stand where you once stood. Archangel Michael's sword is not raised in emergency anymore. It stands as a sign that your house is marked and watched with purpose. You are not just protected. You are positioned. There will be tangible evidence of this shift. A restored conversation that once seemed impossible. A financial improvement that arrives at the right time. An opportunity that unfolds smoothly where chaos once threatened. When these things happen, remember this moment. Remember that you were warned before impact. Remember that pause prevented pain. Remember that obedience preserved timing. The enemy hoped your house would become a cautionary tale. Instead, it has become a testimony. But hear this clearly as we seal this season. Protection is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle. Continue walking through your home in prayer. Continue speaking life into your rooms. Continue choosing humility over pride and patience over impulse. Your house is no longer spiritually unaware. It is spiritually awake. And awakened houses carry influence. There are others right now who are only one emotional reaction away from their own chain reaction. They have not yet received a warning. They have not yet paused. They are standing where you once stood, unaware of how close impact truly is. Type "My house is sealed" in the comments if you receive this covering. Blessing code 1212 is now released over your household, marking the close of this battle and the beginning of sustained peace. Now listen carefully. What saved your house was not luck. It was light. And light must be kept burning. The Lord says, "I set a lamp on a stand so it gives light to everyone in the house." His message is that lamp. When you release a super thanks, when you join membership, or when you sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are pouring oil into that lamp so it does not go out. I have answered the call to speak the warning before impact. Now you answer the call to keep the warning reaching others. This is not about supporting a channel. It is about shielding households you may never meet. As you give, you declare that no chain reaction will go unchecked in your generation. As you sow, may your own house remain covered, your doors guarded, your peace multiplied. Step into obedience boldly. Activate your support now. Keep the light burning.